cast as well. You know,
exactly.
But no, when it comes to the horror stuff that Stephen King has done throughout the years, a lot of times it was always sort of B actors and like, you know, little known actors that you'd see in those films. Only recently that I know of when they did the Dark Tower or whatever the fuck it's called movie.
But that was bad.
That was bad. I heard that was bad, but they got Idris Elba in that, and they got Matthew McConaughey in that, right?
Yeah. I mean, McConaughey was the villain.
Those are big names, and then the It film that they did, they managed to attract some A-list actors for the It film, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. I mean, of course, Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things was in that, and then the adults, you got Bill Hader, Jason McAvoy.
Who from Stranger Things? Which character?
The one that plays Mike in Stranger Things.
The guy from Mike was in that movie.
Yep. He plays Richie, which we'll get into in the show. But yeah, he plays him.
Oh, because he was still young then.
Yeah, well, it was like the It movie Chapter 1 was like after
2017 or something like that.
That
was right when Stranger Things first started. So he was real young.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. And his older self in Chapter 2 was played by Bill Hader, which was great casting.
Yeah, they had Bill Hader, but didn't they have adult actors in the first movie too, in the first It film?
No.
Oh, was this the kids in that one?
Yeah, so the Chapter 1 was just mainly the kids, and then Chapter 2 is them, but as adults.
I got you. Okay, so that's how it worked. All right.
Yeah.
That's what they brought in. What's her name? That one real talented actress to be in
Sophie.
it.
Yeah, Sophie.
Not Sophie. What's her name?
What from
the girl from The Help and
Jessica Chastain as the
Jessica Chastain. Yeah.
She was in Chapter 2. Yeah.
She's the biggest name, the name of who was in that cast, I think, and then also McElroy was in it too, right?
Yep, he played Billy, the main protagonist, the one that his brother gets eaten by Pennywise in Chapter 1. But yeah, good cast for both films, and I gotta say this cast not as good as the first Chapter 1, but I think they did a really good job with the older cast in this season, which is good.
Anyway. You can go ahead. We went live, so you can go ahead and get us started. I just wanted to go ahead and do one of my, famous cold starts.
Cold starts.
One Cyber loves so much.
Sure. Hello, everyone. This is Andreas Pop Guy. I'm your moderator tonight for the finale of It. Welcome to Derry, episode 8. Such a bittersweet end to a fantastic show that we've been loving to review this last 8 weeks. So, of course, I'm going to moderate this show. Of course, let me introduce Jeff S. TrueKnowledge, the co-host of MCU'S Edge. How you doing, sir?
I love how you put that. Of course, I'm moderating the show or something like that. It's like obviously you're talking, like you're obviously hosting. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good, sir. I'm having a very positive energy type evening so far.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Because we're gonna have a really good discussion with this one. And
I took some extra Adderall. So I've got a little bit of that Adderall high going.
Kick. Which
is always good. We always advise people in the MCU'S Bleeding Edge audience to take Adderall, and things like that to improve your evening.
Yes, it's true. And of course, we have Cyberneticshark, also the co-host of MCU Bleeding Edge. How you doing, sir?
Good. I'm good. Looking forward to talking about this amazing season finale.
Cyber wishes he had some Adderall. He's like, I wish I had an Adderall.
No, I don't.
No. Cyber, come on, Cyber. Be realistic. You wouldn't mind a quick Adderall tablet?
No, I'm good.
No, quick 30 milligram, real quick.
No.
I've been told, sir, that many folks out there that take Adderall have a very positive experience recreationally doing it.
Well, good for them.
it's one of those one of those substances where it's pretty much all 100% good when you take it. There's really no negative side effects. Everything you get out of it is all totally positive. So you really can't go wrong with it.
That's good to know.
And safe, because it comes from from a pharmaceutical company when you buy it. It's medication. You know what I'm saying? So it's safe.
True. Yeah, very true. Yeah, let's get into like a Red Robin here. Let me get Jeff, your opinion on the finale. Just a brief opinion on the finale and or of the series. Like, how you feel about the series now after it's done? You like it or dislike
Good job, sir. Good rebound. Because come on, it's kind of a given that you got to ask me about the series too. In completion. Yeah. You know what I mean? So for a minute there, I thought you were going to leave it out. I was like, oh man, but no. Honestly, I was a little bit disappointed with the finale. So I don't know if I really agree with you about this big conversation we're going to have, because I don't really have a ton to say about it, to tell you the truth. Compared to other episodes throughout the season, I had a lot more to say about a lot of other episodes than I have to say about episode 8. I felt like it was a quick episode. I don't know how long it was. I never saw the runtime, but it felt shorter than your typical episode during the season. I'll put it to you that way. I could be wrong. I think it was actually over an hour. I think it was an hour and 2 minutes long. So okay, so it was pretty long. Okay, it felt like it went pretty quickly. Which obviously is not a bad thing. But it was very predictable as a finale, as a ending episode of a season of television, especially one in the Welcome to Derry scenario where there's no option to continue the story at the end of these seasons that they're doing. Every time they go to do the finale, they have to actually end completely the story of that season. You know what I'm saying? Because there isn't going to be any real tangible, carryover from season to season. You know what I'm saying? There'll be some consistent pieces, but like most of it will be different. You know what I'm saying? At least when it comes to characters and actors and, the time period being different and all that. So, obviously the whole energy and the whole kind of vibe will be different from season to season of Welcome to Derry, because, every decade, has its own kind of sort of culture of that decade, that time. You know what I mean? And so, season 2 will reflect that with its time period. But that puts you in a tough spot, I think, when it comes to producing and directing and everything, and writing an episode 8, a finale for specifically for this type of season, where you've really got to, completely wrap up your story and wrap up the arcs of a lot, almost all your characters, are not going to carry over for the next season, So that's a lot. That's a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? And it's tough, I think, probably, and not easy to just wrap up a main character arc or a secondary character arc in one episode, you know what I'm saying? Or 2 episodes, real quick. It's hard to do, especially when you have a show like it where you have that dual story competing all the time of the adult part of the show and then the kid part of the show, fighting for screen time together. You know what I'm saying? Against each other, basically, right? So they have to factor in that they have to give proper time to all the different characters, and the different stories have to have their time. You know what I mean? That they've got to make everything equitable, and that's tough, I think. So I think taking all that into consideration, me basically just pointing out that I don't envy the people who had to actually, pull off this finale. I think they did a good job for the most part, but it was very predictable. What occurred during the episode was exactly what anybody who watched the show would expect to happen in that finale. There was nothing surprising. nothing exciting, nothing new. You know what I'm saying? And throughout the season so far, they've managed to always, in almost every episode, drop in small elements or events or people or objects or something that are new. You know what I mean? That are something new to add to the It universe. To the It lore. You know what I mean? Or just new to the show. You know what I'm saying? In itself. You know what I mean? Or a new element. Or a surprise. So I was less than thrilled at how they did actually handle wrapping up some of the, for instance, character arcs and things like that. And we'll get into it, but Dick, from The Shining. I didn't think that was a good episode for him, honestly. He had some strong episodes throughout season 1. He did. He had some pretty strong episodes, but this was not one of them. He really did not have much of an impact. It didn't seem like.
Okay.
I'm okay, Cyber.
Oh,
I know you weren't talking to me, but I just wanted to let you know, because I know you could. I know you're always concerned about my personal welfare. So
always.
So I just wanted to go ahead and and jump in there and take my opportunity to let you know that I'm doing okay, sir. So yes. I don't know,
I heard a clank. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was okay.
No, you're good. It happens. You're, Cyber, it's definitely a positive when it comes to your character that you are a very helpful, on point, kind of guy. When loud noises and things happen and shit and whatnot, Cyber is right there on time to fucking handle it. So, I don't know, man. I've been watching Game of Thrones, like in binge mode, for the last couple days. So anytime you're watching Game of Thrones consistently, especially when you're in like the mid, the mid part of the show, that 4 or 5 season run or whatever, mark of it or whatever, it's very difficult to watch any other television, in comparison, what I'm saying, to Game of Thrones, because, say what you want about it. I don't want to get deep into it, but Game of Thrones is a really, really fucking good TV show, man. Really good. It deserved to be as popular as it was. I mean, I don't know, I liked the season of it, season 1. I did like it. It was nice. It was something different, a different kind of show. Very rare that you see anybody out there willing to put out a horror television show. You don't see a lot of those, really. You see your vampire shows and stuff like that, but that's just vampires. That's territory that's been treaded. Yeah, that's the obvious stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually making a horror TV show is a rare thing that only certain, studios, have ever been willing to do, or people have ever been willing to actually, create or put together. And they're tough to make, and sometimes they're not very good when they come out. The ones I've seen that are horror, genre dominated. So, it's nice to see something different out there, television wise, to watch, and experience, something that's really different, from a different genre that you don't get a lot in television. So that was cool. I like that. It's nice, a nice fresh, change from watching just your typical, TV series, most of the time, that have sort of the same, structure and, themes and genres and things like that. So yeah, I like the feel of it, knowing that it was horror. The stuff they did incorporating the Shining and Dr. Sleep stuff into the It universe in Welcome to Derry was a brilliant move. Whoever decided to do that, creatively to to combine those two stories or books or universes or whatever. I love that move. That was a great addition and a really cool new wrinkle for the It universe and the It lore to add that element to the season. Although I must admit, I'm still to this day confused by some of the things that happened during season 1 when it comes to what happened with Pennywise and Dick in that one scene there in that one episode where Dick got thrown into that dimension where his grandfather was trying to open the box with the chains on it and all that shit. That was confusing to me, and it still is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what's going on with this new thing where Pennywise opens up his whole head and shoots like beams of light at people, and like that's how he does the deadlights now. Like that's kind of different,
That's how he actually does it. That's his.
That's how he always does it.
Yeah, that's from the movies, and that's how it is in the book.
In the movies, he would open his head and shine out of his head.
Yeah, he did that with Beverly, and he did that in chapter 2 as well.
I thought if you just look at the deadlights, you automatically get sucked into it.
No. He just he opens it, and then you're like literally hypnotized by the cosmic energy he has of his true form, and then you're pretty much capacitated for him to like easily use
he's already proven that he can do it in any form. He doesn't have to be in his true form
because
he does it in clown form in episode 8.
Yeah. But no, that's just a way for him to like easily control you. That like if he wants to save you for like this.
I just forgot that was his method of always doing the deadlights. I forgot.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched that Stephen King movie in a long time, and I don't remember everything that happened in it. And also, although I did read the novel when I was younger, based on reading the novel, you would never really understand how the deadlights really worked all that well. It was tough to understand in the novel. It seems like it's a very complicated concept when you read it in the book, the deadlights. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's what's so cool about these TV shows and these movies is it actually gets us to be able to sit down and watch on screen, these complicated, interesting, concepts or things that happen in these in great books. You know what I'm saying? Which is always cool. I really enjoyed season 1. I don't think Welcome to Derry was a standout TV show for 2025 at all. I don't think it was like, a top 10 TV show, probably at the end of the day. I'm sure even though I didn't watch all of them, there were probably, 10 other shows out there that were better. I would assume, for what it is, it was a really, really decent show. Very entertaining, very watchable. I'm sure it did well, viewership wise for HBO and all that, because it was obviously a popular, interesting, kind of unique kind of, TV show to do, and of course there's the popularity of it itself, overall. Then you've got your Stephen King fans out there, right? Yep. So the show had a lot going for it from that perspective of people wanting to watch it. They did a good job with it. I mean, honestly, it was very consistent episode to episode, I never had any issues with the episode lengths as far as time goes, I always felt like the episodes were long enough. I never bitched once during the whole season about any episodes being short,
No.
It was very consistent, very when it came to the length of the episodes, they were very much similar in length, which I appreciate. And the show was never boring, really. It did very, very in a very, very few occurrences, it did get slow or meander a little bit, the story here or there, especially with the kids. Things could get a little dull with the kids at times. but not often. So overall, I mean, there's really a lot I like about Derry. Welcome to Derry season 1. There's really a lot I like about the production, aspect of the show, and the creative aspects of the show, and the things they did with it that I really think highly of. I think they made a lot of good moves and decisions with the show in terms of the story and the characters and all that. I don't think there were really any standout actors or actresses in the show for me that I think were really worth having long discussions about as far as like their performances in the show. Everybody was pretty solid, like all HBO shows. It was all solid acting. It was all well done. Everything worked out well with the show. Everything functioned well. But nobody stood out to me, to where I would be like, oh, like that person should get nominated for an Emmy or something like that. I never felt like that about anybody in the cast. And part of that could have something to do with just the way that the show is, the way it works. It's not the type of show, I think, where it's easy to be have a standout performance like that, especially in a genre like horror. It's a lot harder to pull off, a great dramatic performance in that kind of film, that kind of TV show, and that genre. So yeah, last thing I'll say is just that I felt like episode 8 was not creative compared to the rest of the season. It was very, very much not creative, whereas the rest of the season was creative. So there's that, and I think that it just what happened in the finale was just very obvious and like very, very much stuff that you could just you figure what was gonna happen and just happened. Like if you were gonna just off the top of your head guess at like what they do with the finale based off what you saw up to that point, just off the top of your head, you'd say what basically happened in this episode. So from that perspective, it was a little bit different than the rest of the season. It just that it was very plastic and like not very exciting but I felt like it was also very played out. The sort of like the way that the story worked out in the episode, it borrowed a lot of traditional tropes we've seen in other films and just copied them.
Yeah. I agree.
The basic good and evil, challenge of the kids having to save the day with the weapon, or whatever, that's so played out. That was so predictable for that's how it would work out, that like, I'm sorry, but I can't really be impressed by that. That's it.
No, thank you. We'll discuss that. Yeah. I don't know what else they could have done because we know that we're gonna get him back again for the movies, and so it was gonna be tough for them. It felt
like for the first time they made a copy of what an It film is like in an episode of the show. You know what I mean? And the rest of the season did not feel like that.
No, it felt like its own mini It movie. But if you haven't seen the movies, this is basically how the kids kind of beat Pennywise, but differently. But yeah, I agree. And just before I go to you, Cyber, I will mention you brought up no one stand out for this season in terms of the cast. There's two people.
Maybe some of the kids deserve some credit. You know what I'm saying? But how hard it is for a child actor to actually get nominated for an award. Especially an Emmy.
Yeah, I don't know if this show is going to be nominated Emmy or not, but I think there's standouts. Two people I wanted to just give a shout out. I think the kid that played Richie, he was the MVP for the kids. I thought he was really funny. He was really great. His death was so sad, and like everyone talked about that after last week when we reviewed episode 7. His death was so shocking, really sad. And you brought up Dick, the actor that played Dick from The Shining. He was another MVP.
Oh yeah, he did. He was good. I just didn't think that he stood out though. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought he was very serviceable playing that character. It was a good job. You know, and that actor seems talented. You know, like I'd watch him in something else. You know what I mean? He has a very Hollywood sort of actor look to him, almost. But no, and plus at the same time, anyways, most TV shows out there, no matter how popular they are overall or anything like that, or how good they are, don't garner a lot of award recognition in the first season or second season anyway. It's usually later on in the show that you start to get awards and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's how it was with Game of Thrones. You know what I'm saying? You know, it took a minute before they started just getting lots of nominations, you know?
It's true.
So, you know, it's tough. It's tough to not have the time playing the character to get that kind of recognition like that. You know, one season is not enough.
No, that's true. Because they didn't nominate the actor that played Rhaenyra's father from the House of Dragon season 1 at all, which was kind of annoying because he was the best thing about that.
It's very rare. You can ask Cyber. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's very rare from what I remember about television, especially not movies but television. It's very rare for any of the actors in the first season of TV shows when they first come out to ever get nominated for awards or for Emmys or anything like that, because it's the first season of the show. You know what I mean? And the show hasn't caught on yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's usually standard that it's always in season 2, 3, 4 that you actually start to see that, you know, the show get popular. And that's when the actors actually start getting the awards.
Yeah, no, I actually kind of agree with that because Fargo had this thing when season 2 came out. That was when they actually became more popular with the award season. So,
I think it's probably but very rare in the history of the Emmys where they've ever actually given an Emmy to somebody in the first season of a show.
Yeah, I need to check on that because I think you're right on that point. Saber, let me get to you, sir. What are your thoughts on the series, sir? Go ahead and. When you like it, when you dislike it about this first season, go ahead.
All right. So I really enjoyed this first season. I thought that, this final episode wrapped it up very nicely. I thought it, led us into where it could go. I like that it had a pairing with the films. I thought that was a really great OD to the films. And, Andy Muschietti, who, did the first 2 films and then also was a co-creator on this, directed a few of the episodes. I think he did an absolute fantastic job in keeping it very much like the movies. I love that he did that. I love that they kept it very simplistic. I love that it felt like a TV series. It didn't feel like some stupid bullshit that they've made over the last 4 years. So it's nice to see something feel normal again. And I think the Machetes did a great job with this. Overall, I thought it was a really great, series, season. I think it did a great job. I liked all the people in it. I thought they all did a good job. Of course, a few of them, of course, I didn't care too much for them, of course. But other than that, I thought that the story writing was done well. I thought it was interesting, fun, entertaining. The graphics were amazing. The last half of so much Pennywise was absolutely fantastic. And I love that we got so much more Pennywise versus how the movies had him. So that was really nice to see. And I think that how they developed Pennywise in this, giving you a different angle of who he is and what he is about, that they didn't get to go over in the 2 films. It was very nice to see as well. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the character, in the next couple of seasons. Otherwise, I thought this first season really was great, really fun, and I absolutely loved it.
Thank you, Saber. Yeah. I just briefly my thoughts on season 1. I really loved the season. I think it definitely. I think this was my number 2 favorite 2025 show because I mean we reviewed a couple of the shows we have here. Peacemaker and Alien Earth and whatever shows we reviewed just recently. I felt like I was very disappointed how they wrapped up their seasons, and I was very happy to say that this season did a really good job of wrapping up the season. But I do agree with Jeff. I think that this finale was decent, but not great. There's a couple things I have problems with, but I think overall it was a satisfying you know, overall reintroduction to this universe. One thing I liked about the show they did, I preferred this show over the movies. They did a really good job of actually explaining more the mythos and the just the overall abilities that Pennywise was doing, and make it more clear to me than the movies did. And then plus, I was happy that we got more answers of why did Pennywise chose this form. I like the the retcons and tie-ups, as Cyber said before, to the movies. That was really fun. I did not expect that. Also, reaching out to the Stephen King universe, it was great to see other Stephen King stuff being mentioned here. Of course, The Shining. That was a really great introduction. Because obviously, Dick had a brief role in the book with the Black Spot, which they adapted into episode 7. So that was nice that they really did that. But that showed that's going to be a major theme for the seasons, because we know that they're going to adapt to the big massacre thing or killings that Derry has in their timeline that we briefly heard of in the movies and books and stuff like that. So I think they're in the right direction with that. And I really enjoy it. And I think this really had a great pace, as Jeff said before. I love the hours. That was another issue that we had with the previous shows that we reviewed. Some hours were short, and it didn't have meat to it, and it was like what the hell was going on here?
Oh yeah, remember that crazy Daryl Dixon finale that was 17 minutes long or whatever?
No. I'm not gonna get into Daryl Dixon. But
Cyber, you'd have no idea what I'm talking about because you don't watch Daryl Dixon. But when we covered season 2, all season the episode lengths were pretty long, 47 minutes, 52 minutes, 55 minutes or whatever. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, in the fucking finale, the last episode, out of nowhere, they dropped this fucking 25-minute long fucking finale. You know what I'm saying? That was so short that it felt so rushed that it was just not even good.
Yeah.
It was very strange, sir. It was very rare in my experience with television. I've never really seen that happen before with a finale.
Yeah, no, that was pretty bad. Peacemaker season 2, totally like that as well. Their season was weird, short episodes, and then their finale was what the hell,
Their finale was also very rushed. They really they were really trying to cram in all this stuff into that finale, because the way that they set up the structure of the whole season, episode to episode, they set themselves up to where they had to do all that in the finale,
So it was very annoying that for some reason these shows just couldn't stick the landing, and I was very happy.
Rushing the Peacemaker finale actually really hurt the season overall as far as the quality of the season.
Yeah, no, it did. It did hurt that season pretty badly, and I'm happy to report that this show, Welcome to Derry, did not rush at all with their plots, which was great, and they took their time, which is good to hear, to see. And so I'm very sad it's ended. Hopefully we get
an hour and 2 minutes is a pretty solid number to pick, because honestly, as much as we love long episodes of television, and all that, and it usually leads to good quality, it's still not ideal to see that an episode of a TV show is an hour and a half long. That's a little bit too long,
Yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah, we'll get into it, but I thought there were things that they could cut out, make it better, but we'll see. Let's get into it.
I'm just saying, if you're going to go over an hour, doing an hour and 2 minutes is pretty solid. Doing an hour and 25 minutes is a little bit too much.
Yeah. No. That's kind of true.
Unless it's Stranger Things or Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, yeah. Stranger Things. Oh my god. Game of Thrones, you're gonna get the longer episodes, Jeff, later on in the seasons. Oh my god, they're crazy. Anyway, so let's get into the recap. So let's get into the beginning here. So after we pick up from Pennywise now feeling that one of the pillars are destroyed, he wakes up, and so we get this large fog emerging over Derry and scaring the townsfolk. This was pretty funny. Everyone are like going into their stores, whatnot, and you see these people panicking. I don't know. You guys saw that one baby. What do you call it? Baby carriage, like flying through the road. That was funny. Then you see like that creepy like Pennywise in a human form and the balloon coming out from one of those stores. That's really creepy. And we go into the Derry High School where the students are summoned to the gym for like an assembly, which is not true because it's a trick. Where the principal's corpse is is revealed to be puppeted by what is it? Is like being puppeted by Pennywise, who like does this like crazy show towards this like these students. Really awful. This is the last time we see the patty cakes, the awful mean girls, and so he decapitates the corpse head in front of the students. By the way, that was a really cool kill. Like the fact he took the eye, like went to the eye, see the blood gushing out of the head, and then rips it apart, throws it at the kids. That was like, oh my god, glorious horror, which is awesome. And then while he does this, he starts singing a song, and then Pennywise shows them the deadlights. So this is how he controls all the students. He lifts them up to float, and then he kind of opens the like, how do you say it, like this like stage wallpaper, and you see the courage of the Pennywise thing that we saw in the flashbacks, and he's leading the kids towards the destroyed pillar because now the gate is open, so he's leaving Derry for good. So let me stop there. Let me go to you, Jeff. What do you thought about this beginning? The end point is pretty much the end credits, the opening credits, because we're just sticking with the opening of the whole Pennywise taking the students. What do you thought about that?
It's just a very typical opening, nothing really happens that's all that exciting or anything like that to talk about. It's a very low key compared to the other episodes during the season. No, there was no crazy flashback or anything like that. It was kind of a low key opening to the episode. Just kind of picking up where we left off. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember. Right off the bat, in the opening, is Derry automatically all affected by Pennywise, where it's all like full of smoke and all that, and the sun's covered by clouds and all that? Does that happen right from jump?
Yeah, it happened right at jump.
Okay, yeah. I was confused by that at first, to be honest with you. For some reason, I think maybe because I turned my head or something, or like looked at my phone for a minute or something, so I got distracted during the episode while I was watching it in the beginning. I think I might have missed something because for a minute there, I thought that Pennywise had done the deadlights to the kids, and because of that, they were in like an alternate dimension, like a Stranger Things upside down dimension, of Derry, and that's why it looked so different. That's why it looked all smoky and white and everything. You know what I mean? And there was dead people everywhere. You know what I mean? That's what I thought was happening for a minute. Then I realized what was actually happening.
Yeah.
So that's, that in its own, that whole deal that, that Pennywise has that ability and that power, I will admit is a totally new concept and like a whole new power and a whole new, deal that we had no idea about, that we didn't even know that he could do that. Right. Yeah. So I will admit that there was some new stuff that didn't happen, it's very confused. I'm very curious as to what about freeing Pennywise by removing the pillar or whatever, and then allowing him to stay awake, during his hibernation. What makes his powers stronger? Does that somehow make his powers stronger or something? And that's why all of a sudden he can do this whole like shit where he takes over the whole fucking, town. You know what I mean? Like, and he's actually affecting the adults and everything, like he just takes over, because because that's a big power, a very powerful ability to have, and he's never demonstrated anything like that before in the past ever. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So
it doesn't really show this in the movies either.
So I guess maybe the pillars also restrain his powers to some extent.
Yeah. Well, so this series confirmed like his abilities and his strength more properly. So the flashback from episode 3 or 4, Rose, the native woman, the older woman, explained to whoever about that Pennywise before the colonist people were coming in, he was getting stronger by killing everybody. Like if he killed amount of people, he was able to become this ultimate weapon and ultimate being with this amount of feeding of humans. But because the Indian people in Derry find out that the pillars were able to restrain him and not go too far, and able for him his his digestion to cannot go too far for him to become even more powerful. That's why the pillars are there. They can contain him, and it makes him be more cautious about how he kills his victims and how he can survive.
But they never said anything about about the pillars dampening his powers or making him any less stronger. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. They never talked about that. You know what I'm saying? All the pillars are supposed to really do is contain him to a certain area, and then also the pillars are also involved in why he hibernates for 27 years at a time, because the pillars also have to do with that, I think.
Yeah, so that's what we got from the show. Let's get to you, Cyber. About the opening, the end point is pretty much when he inducts the kids. What are your thoughts on the opening, sir? Cyber.
The opening to this episode is absolutely fantastic. Love it. I mean, what he does to the principal, he does it like a puppet show, gets it all set up in the auditorium, gets them to all go in there, and then he deadlights all them, and they all start floating. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, this is fucking insane. And the blood from when he rips off the guy's head is absolutely fantastic. And he goes to full town. He goes full Pennywise, which is absolutely fantastic. It was a great gore scene, great gore fest. It just was absolutely a great way. And having that old timey fucking station wagon thing that he's in as they're floating with him, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm like, holy shit, that's definitely something he would have, because it would be hundreds and thousands of years old, for however old he is. But anywho, how it the background of the auditorium disappears and it shows you out back and everything, and them going into the outside, I think it was really cool too. I mean, visually, this was just such a really amazing sequence that was just so enjoyable. I absolutely loved the beginning. I thought it was really fantastic and a great way to start the episode.
Yeah, I agreed. It was a really great start, and again, it just shows now that Pennywise is happy to get out of Derry, and he's really showing his full power. Because we rarely see him go this far as abducting so many kids. So let's get into the meat of this plot here. So after that, Lelia, Ronnie, and Marge discovered they were cleaning out their hideout, and then they see the fog, and then after they come down to their hideout or lighthouse, whatever they call it, they see a lot of the random missing people posters of the kids of their classmates, realizing that all the students had disappeared, including Will. So they are forced to follow the blood trail. So this is one I will say that it's kind of convenient that Pennywise randomly just leave blood trail for anyone to follow him. Okay. So, so the blood trail by having Marge, so after they discovered the blood trail, Marge drives an abandoned milk truck, which was a very funny scene because she say that, oh yeah, I saw my uncle driving a truck once. And I like how, Esperanza, did you drive it? No, I just watch it and then just drives, which is hilarious. And then after that, so Leroy gets a call by Pennywise, who taunts him about kidnapping Will, which that was a really like great scene. The scene Leroy being very vulnerable and like hearing that Will's captured by Pennywise was like, oh my god, just really great scene, a great acting from the actor that plays Leroy. So after that call, Leroy approaches Dick, who's trying to like shoot himself because he still is getting hunted by the spirits, and but Leroy convinces him to help him find stop Pennywise and find Will. So then after that, Colonel Florer learns of Leroy and Halloween going AWOL, so he kind of proposes to General Shaw, who's like the main human antagonist of the show. I was like, oh boy. So they visit Rose, who is in the process of helping Charlotte transport Hank to Canada. Hey, Canada is getting mentioned here. That's awesome. Canada is great. Anyway, Rose explains that they need the dagger that the Danes created to replace the destroyed pillar. After Rose gives him, was it like a tea root? I'm saying tea root here to help cancel out the spirits that is haunting Dick. And so, after that, Halloran uses his powers to locate the dagger, which he sees that Leah is carrying. So let me, this is the wrap up. They leave to find the students with Rose, worrying that the dagger will try to break the person's mind in order to return its place of origin, its layer. So let me stop there. That's a lot to process. And I will say, I will be with Jeff. Like, now you're telling me the freaking pillar is the ring from the Lord of the Rings? Like, I'm going to be this crazy just like Gollum? I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the most tropey thing, as you were saying for Jeff in your review of this finale briefly. So let me get to you, Cyber. What you thought about seeing the kids discovering that their classmates are being captured, including Will, seeing Leroy knowing that his son's kidnapped, going to Dick for some help, and he takes Dick to see Rose and tried to help him cancel out the spirits that is haunting Halloween, and then the end point is pretty much Dick locating the dagger that's with the kids. Go ahead.
So, I mean, this whole section, which, like you said, is a big chunk, is quite a bit of information that goes on here. We have the kids finally come together. They bring in what's her face finally with her dagger, and yeah, and so basically we have like a whole bunch of stuff going on here. I mean, lots and lots of stuff going on. I mean, between the Dick stuff and Will's father, then their thing going on, and Dick trying to deal with what's going on with him. And he says he'll help him try to get that fixed, but he needs his help to find Will because Will's been taken by Pennywise, and that, that thing has gotten him, and then the kids end up finding out that they've been taken, and they see the gruesomeness that happened at the school, and they start following the trail. And we get that great sequence where they end up taking that milk truck and are driving the milk truck and shit, which was super hilarious. And in between there, we're seeing, Dick do his thing and try to figure out things, and them try to help him and stuff like that. And, basically when we get to the end point of the section you've been talking about, I think that it all delivers very well. I think that there's a lot of great comedy there, a lot of great action. I think there's some really great story there. I think we get to see kind of the ability of the pillar too, as well, that the pillars as well, just like Pennywise, have the ability to, basically cause people to go crazy. As we see in that, that sequence, as they're trying to get the pillar away from Lily, or not Lily,
or Lelia or something. I don't know. I can't.
Something like that. We'll just say the Beverly Marsh of this series.
Yeah,
because that's who she makes me think of. And they're trying to get her to let go of it, and she's like freaking out because basically it's possessing her. We can see that. We can see why it has that ability against Pennywise, because it's a part of his ship. It's a part of what brought him here to Earth. And I think that's one thing that was very interesting because, like, I didn't see that kind of coming, that the pillar becoming possession type of deal thing like that. I wasn't expecting that, but at the same time, it definitely makes sense that it would end up like trying to get them not to bring it back to where it needs to go to be able to be used and stuff like that. Like, it would also be trying to help Pennywise out as well. And even though it has the ability to keep him contained, which I think was interesting too at the same time. And so, I mean, I think that overall, I thought the acting was decent in this section. I thought, everything that happened, I was getting more kind of information about kind of the shine for Dick and kind of him, what he had to deal with and stuff like that. And, we're getting to see Will's dad kind of become more of a dad and, kind of buck up and not be such a dumbass. And, of course, all while this is going on, we have the, people kind of in the background trying to, keep things going and the wheels turning too as well in the background, the military and everything. And I just think overall it was just a really fun section. Lots of great entertaining situations. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I thought that it really, kept the episode moving along really well. And, of course, when they finally catch up to Pennywise's cart, that's when it really gets good. So I think that this is a really fantastic section that leads to another great section.
Thank you, Cyber. Yeah, I agreed. This part is very engaging because it's very funny. Like, I mean, has a lot of action, which is really great. Jeff, what's your thoughts on the kids, finding out that their classmates and Will is being captured? Same thing with Leroy finding out that his son is kidnapped, and the end point is pretty much Dick locating the dagger is with the kids. Go ahead.
Oh, again, sir, that is one of the most played out tropes that happens in in movies and big finales of TV shows all the time. Of course, some main character or one of the team, has to get abducted. You know what I'm saying? So that suddenly everybody has to chase that person. You know what I mean? It's just so played out. You know what I mean? Like, so like obvious of like, the different things that Pennywise would do, it's just so logically makes perfect sense that would be probably the main, thing he'd do, and of course that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I like seeing the girls working together, like those three together are like a good pair. Like I thought they're good together as a team, I like the female kid characters, they're all pretty good in their own way. Them finding and driving the milk truck was totally cool, Pennywise killed a lot of people, man, in Derry, like out in the streets and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like there was a lot of dead people that I think from what I saw, like weren't there dead corpses like laying around and stuff like that?
It was only like the milkman. That's it.
That was it?
Yeah, that was really it.
Okay, so there wasn't a lot of it.
No, it wasn't a lot of it. It was just like he just took the kids and that's it. If anyone that was like in his way, he's gonna kill them anyway.
Not always.
Yeah, no, that's true. Like he'll just talk them. But yeah, he didn't kill.
Sometimes he just walks by. He was going to walk right by the major or whatever later on in the episode, until he remembered him. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. He was totally going to walk right by him.
Yeah, and he kind of did that with Ingrid too. So yeah, so he's not always that.
That's the thing about Pennywise. He has that sort of thing about him where, like, he honestly, in a combination of just being logical, like what's logical to do, and also because he just doesn't give a fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, he will just walk right by and spare people at times, you know what I mean? Like, he has that kind of, attitude, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially because it's an adult, you know what I'm saying? And adults are not his priority,
No, that is true. Yeah, I always forget that. Yeah, he doesn't rarely eats adults, in his killing spree.
Yeah, no, I mean I don't know how much. There's no way to really know since he's a fictional character how much he really does think about, and prioritizes being secretive with his killings and his activities when it comes to going out, and grabbing kids and stuff like that, and being in public and things like that. I don't know how much he worries about, like, being seen or caught or things like that, I'd imagine, just out of that, like, from a practical standpoint, because he is a practical kind of alien, that if he can avoid interacting, with, people for no reason, that he will,
Yeah. Yeah, he usually do that. The only time he interacts with the adults or older kids, because I forgot to mention this. It was interesting in the beginning that he wanted the younger kids, but not the upper kids, the upperclassmates.
Because he has desired a taste for what he likes when it comes to his food,
exactly.
And then there's also the fear factor, the fact that he eats the fear. You know what I'm saying? And the younger the kid, the fear, the more fear. So he's just not as scary to a 15-year-old as he is to, like, an 8-year-old. No, I mean, obviously we figured out so far in season 1 that he does eat humans, but he doesn't have, like, a ravenous attitude. Like, he doesn't eat constantly or feel consumed to eat. You know what I mean? So, like, he just kind of randomly does it, So I don't think he has any like need to really just, kill and eat every person he comes across. You know what I'm saying? He's not that kind of killer,
No, he does this too in the movies too. So, like, it's consistent from what
we've also seen already, so far that he does at times also let humans live and even associate with them. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that I understand, because he sometimes will use them to, like, he will probably manipulate them to, like, get maybe the young kids to feed. Like,
sure.
Ingrid,
because he has the powers and the abilities to do that, to manipulate people like that. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, and that's something he also did in the movies. He used a bully to, like, take down the Losers Club, but that bully didn't really did his job right. So so that is just very consistent of Pennywise.
Yeah, he does. He will use people. That's definitely true. And he's obviously not afraid to set people up too, for his murders and his crimes and things like that. You know what I mean? So to some extent, he is cognizant of what will happen after he goes on one of his massacres. You know what I'm saying? He does seem to care about what happens after.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It makes you wonder how much he really does concern himself with, how exposed and how public he is when he's around for his short period of time. You know what I mean? How much he does really concern himself with making sure that he's not, publicly, discussed.
Yeah. No.
Which, I'm sure with all his abilities and powers, I'm sure he's aware of what's going on in the town of Derry. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, honestly, I thought this part of the episode was just kind of basically just kind of stereotypical. It just felt very basic. The story, with, like, what was happening. Not very creative, not very inventive. I really wasn't sure I understood what Dick was doing with his powers or whatever to help the kids or whatever, like, I wasn't really sure what he was doing at that point. Like, what his goal was,
No, it was pretty simple. It was just like Rose was helping him to, like, get rid of the spirits that's, like, hunting him. Locate the dagger.
Oh,
you
look
know,
at the dagger. Okay, yeah,
that
no,
was like the only thing he was doing. For
yeah,
that moment.
yeah. That was very convenient that Rose just happened to have that root or whatever that to give him or whatever, that would get rid of his spirits. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
I never understood why he was seeing all that shit anyway. You know what I mean? I would have liked to I would have liked to have had an explanation of how it did that to him. You know what I mean? You know,
I mean, well, unfortunately,
I just enjoy understanding people's powers when they have powers. You know what I'm saying? Like especially when they're like interesting, deep ones, like that have to do with the mind. And all that kind of stuff, and all in different dimensions, and things like that.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from. I kind of understood what his abilities are. Like he can, tap into the spirit world and like can create illusions, like as we seen with the shiny and.
But what really is the spirit world, sir? In this world, or whatever. Like, what is
the spirits? Like, I don't know, like if it's connected to the Stephen King universe, but like it just in general ghosts. Like he can sense the power like of the dead and like all that. But from this season, like what was interesting when they add about the shiny, the shine, if he talks to them, they will like want to like talk to Dick, and that's something he doesn't want to do, and like that scares him because that's because the ghost can easily possess Dick and do something stupid like killing himself or something like that in a very horrific way.
Well, no, it did that. The ghost didn't do that. It did that. Pennywise did that.
Yes and no, but remember he contacted the chief, the native chief, to help him find the escape for the kids to get out from that fire last week. So yeah, it was it, but like at the same time, it was also Dick's fault too. So, but anyway,
overall, obviously Pennywise also has some form of the shine power too.
That is true.
Based off what he was able to do with Dick, he obviously is also able to harness the shine power.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's something that's consistent from Dr. Sleep, right? Like, or from the books. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, it was never a part of that.
No. No. Maybe I'll say that later because it's like because if you're like that powerful as an entity, like the Overlook Hotel, because in the books they say that if they like these creatures, like aliens or like whatever,
they're not aliens. We really don't know what they are. Whatever those,
I don't know.
Whatever those spirits are or whatever they are, they've never explained what they are.
Yeah. But here's the thing: it's consistent from what Dr. Sleep mentioned is that if they sense the shine, they want it to like drain the force out of the person that has that ability. So that is consistent. So
it recognized the shine power in Dick. It did. Yes, it picked it up. It noticed it. Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So I was surprised for like the whole season that he didn't try to like absorb the shine from Dick. That was interesting that Pennywise didn't do that.
That when it boils down to it, for when it comes to Pennywise, that Pennywise may not even care about about stealing the shine power. You know what I mean? Like, he's probably just more concerned about eating humans and eating kids and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's all about fear. I don't think he cares about getting the shine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like, what he's gonna do with the shine? Like, he's literally the most powerful.
It gets you high, based off Dr. Sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it gets you like high when you absorb it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see Pennywise wanting to get high.
No. It could have been funny to see him high.
Yeah. It like puts you in like a really enhanced, relaxed state or whatever when you absorb it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like a high.
Yeah, that is true. But
and it also like restores your youth and keeps you alive and all that other stuff too.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So I was just very surprised he didn't like think about
that's how they've all been alive for like for decades and centuries or whatever. And Dr. Sleep,
Yes. What was it? The crew, the vampiric people, whatever, that were taking the shine.
Yeah, they somehow get something from the shine that extends and rejuvenates their life.
Yeah, that was the interesting part about that movie.
That's why obtaining it is so important to them.
Yeah. Really creepy. If you haven't seen Doctor Sleep, great film. The villains are really scary. I mean, Rebecca Ferguson from Dune and Mission
Oh yeah,
Impossible.
Rebecca Ferguson made that movie.
Oh yeah, she's the best thing for that. Anything else about that section, sir? We can move on.
No, that's it.
Yeah. So speaking of Shining, so let's get into the best part about this episode. I was kind of shocked that Dick did this, but so the girls catch up to it and the missing Will and the classmates, right? As they all crossing now the frozen Penobscot River. So this is the point where Pennywise can actually escape and leave Derry. So the plan is from the adults, if the kids are able to maybe put the pillar in that tree, they can able to restore the cage and stop Pennywise leaving, right? So leading Pennywise to torment the girls while they're keeping a safe distance from the dagger, right? And using the fog as cover, it separates Marge from the dagger and the others and proceeds to mock her by showing her. I gotta say, very decent finale, but there was a lot of twists and turns that I was not expecting. This was the biggest twist that I was not expecting they would do. So Pennywise reveals to Marge that showing her a missing person's poster of her future son Richie Tozer. So everyone doesn't know, Richie Tozer is the main kid from the movies, If Chapter 1, If Chapter 2. This is the character, Jeff, that is played by the Stranger Things actor that plays Mike in that season, and Bill Hader in Chapter 2 as the older adult. So he reveals that to Marge that this is her son in the future. And we discovered that Pennywise reveals that he experienced the past, the present, and the future all at once. Okay. And causing Pennywise to believe that its death may also be its birth. Okay. Before he can kill Marge, Dick Halloran freezes it, which was so cool. When that happened, I was like, oh god, he's using the shine to stop him. That was great. And by mentally trapping Pennywise in a false memory as the human Bob Gray, the one that we saw in the flashbacks, that was the original Pennywise dancing clown, before it took over that persona, causing the students, including Will, to regain consciousness. And pretty much the adults arrive with Leroy and tend to try to take the dagger to the other side of the river, to the ancient tree that marks the end of the pillars that range of the influence of the cage. So let me stop there. So let me get back to you, Jeff. So what you thought about the kids arriving to the river, encountering Pennywise, and your thoughts on the twist that Marge is the mother of one of the kids in the movies, and the end point is pretty much Dick.
This stuff where it's the mother of the kid that's going to be in this movie or whatever. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't notice that. You know what I mean? I would have no idea that was happening. You know what I'm saying? I don't know these characters by name from it. You know what I mean? I don't. I don't remember them from reading the book. I don't remember their names. I never watched those films, so I do not know their names. So when that stuff happens, I have no clue. How it was even that important, I don't even really know. But it makes sense, that there would be people that would be familially connected to other people, from the early 1980s when the next It appearance comes out. Obviously that's when the It movie happens. Is during that next wake up period. I loved how Dick finally was able to use his powers somehow What he did, I have no idea, but whatever he did to freeze Pennywise and then put him in that other place, you know, that other dimension, that shine world or whatever you want to call it, that was good. That was pretty cool. I like that, you know. It was really cool seeing Pennywise so confused, you know, and for once not being, you know, the most powerful, you know, character in the room. You know what I mean? I like that, you know, and seeing the frozen version of Pennywise the clown with the big teeth and all that shit, you know, out in the winter, you know, was cool. How it suddenly became winter, you know, or whatever, like so cold or dark or whatever during the, you know, during the show, I have no idea, because it was like sunny and like, you know, spring or something like that in episode 7, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just because of Pennywise and his powers that all of a sudden it started snowing and getting all wintry. I have no idea.
I think it kind of applies to, I'm a little confused that too. But it seems like that's
he caused that. It was not winter. From what I remember in the show, it was not winter in episode 7.
No, we're in spring. They say we're in April, and last episode, when they were packing, what was it like packing?
Yeah, and then when everything you know wraps up, you know, and they go back to the regular world, it's back to perfectly nice weather, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So obviously, we can add that along with all the other things that Pennywise apparently can do now. You know, he can now actually also control the weather. You know, So you know, I'm just very impressed by these new abilities that Pennywise has now when he decides to stay awake and not hibernate. You know, he can do he can do some really powerful shit at that point. You know, I think it's probably better for everybody for them to make sure for the rest of the future that they don't do anything again to allow him to you know, not go to sleep, you know, because you know, the Pennywise that you get after he sleeps is pretty nasty too, you know what I mean? But at least he's not fucking, you know, taking over the whole fucking city, you know what I'm saying? And you know, all that shit. I mean, you know, the story of the episode is progressing, you know, the plot, you know, I mean, you know, they're fighting back. The adults are fighting back, you know, like they're fighting back for the kids, working for, you know, everybody's working together against Pennywise, you know, I thought it was, are we as far as when, all of the good guys fought the military to get their guns and shit like that and escape?
No, not
okay,
yet.
we're not that far yet? Okay.
Yeah, just when the end point is kind of like Will and the kids are getting their conscience back. So
getting their consciousness back?
Or waking up from Pennywise, you know.
They were under like a spell that whole time?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, they were in the Deadites. They were controlled by the Pennywise Deadlights.
Oh, they were dead. They did get deadlighted. I thought they did.
Yeah, like last episode, Will like literally saw the 3, you know, light bulbs in Pennywise mouth, and the kids in the gym.
Oh, it was Will that got glowed at the end of episode 7, and then the other kids got it in episode 8.
Yep. And then
I thought I remembered that. So they were in like a trance. Or
yeah,
they
were
that.
trance. Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah, trance. Yeah, they were getting out their trance after Pennywise was frozen.
How are they still active and walking around and all that stuff, even though they were in the trance?
They were not walking; they were like floating. Like Pennywise just float them. They were flying like in the sky, you know, like balloons, you know, because Pennywise can lift them up when he does the Deadites.
Oh, I must have missed that. See, they actually did go up in the air and all that shit, like the typical Deadlights.
Yeah, and he did like a Piper thing where he was like, you know, doing something, you know, musical, and then like they were like following the wagon and like order.
This has to do with the whole wagon part of this section.
Yeah. So that's the end point when Will and all those kids were getting out of the trance because
I wasn't really sure what was going on with that whole wagon deal with Pennywise. You know what I'm saying? That was kind of interesting, you know? I guess
that is true.
I guess he was just stockpiling children in there, essentially.
Well,
you know?
I mean, well, there's a question: if he did get out, Derry, was he gonna go back to hibernate, or that was the part why he needed the kids? But I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. I was kind of wondering what was going on with all that, you know?
Yeah. So
was that supposed to be like the circus cart, like from the circus?
Yeah, that was the one the like human Pennywise had back in 1908.
Oh, that was his cart? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think he used that and tried to get out from Derry from there.
Okay, all right. Yeah. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. I thought that was a horse carriage, but I didn't see any horses.
No, well, he kind of used like his he has telepath ability, so like he was like moving it like
he has the is that telepathy when you move objects?
Yes. Oh no. Telepathy is like you're going into the mind. Telepathic, I think, is what you move. If I remember correctly,
or it might be the other way around. I think telepathic is telepathic when you read minds.
I guess. Oh God, I'll check it out after this. But
it's always hard to figure all that stuff out. It's like Professor Xavier. He has all the different, mutant mental powers, but they're hard to say, and they're like and they're like they're very difficult words.
Yeah, because Jean has the mind power, and then she has the one that she can move her mind, like move things in her mind, and so like
but she doesn't have all the powers that Professor Xavier has. No. She's limited compared to him.
Yes, yeah, it's before like the Dark Phoenix thing like takes over her.
That has nothing to do with it. You know what I'm saying? The Dark Phoenix thing had nothing to do with Jean's psychic or mental power.
No. She has those powers, but she's not like yet as powerful before she becomes like the Dark Phoenix. You know what I mean? Like she was still like a level mid-tier mutant, but like no, I know what you're saying. No, it's before the Dark Phoenix.
The Dark Phoenix thing is an aberration. It has nothing to do with Jean Grey overall. As a character, she was always, a step behind Professor X when it came to their abilities. I know that.
Oh yeah, from the beginning, yeah.
And there were, and he had certain ones that he could do that she couldn't. It's very impressive. That it has all these crazy psychological mental powers. You know what I'm saying? But yes, it makes sense that's how he would move his cart. Yes, I get it. He has the ability to move things with his mind. I would not be surprised that he would have that ability, considering what we've seen him do so far in season 1 of the show. I mean, the deadlights is very interesting, I don't want to get into the concept of it because I know it's very deep. I remember reading about it in the book, and it's kind of complicated, but it's basically like an alternate dimension, isn't it? When somebody goes to get sucked up into it, aren't they in like an alternate dimension almost?
No. From I saw the behind the scenes of this episode. They say that's like the tree flowing like bowls that's in the mouth. That's like the true form of Pennywise, like his body and like look, and it's just like he's underneath this like organic like form that he's taking as a clown. So that's what they told me from the behind the scenes stuff. That it's not like a dimension. Those tree light things is like actually his true form as a creature. As an alien or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I for some reason I thought, what that when you see all the lights and it's all, up in the air and everybody's all suspended, that was potentially actually like another universe or like another dimension that Pennywise, can tap into, But yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, I mean, I love all the stuff with the kids in the episode. You know, the kids have been great all season. You know, so I love them. I love them in the finale, regardless of what I thought of some of the you know, kind of, you know, boring you know, elements of the episode. The kids were still great, and I cheered them on. I wanted to see them succeed. You know, so you know, Pennywise was kind of all over the place in this episode. Like, you know, with he was kind of a little bit everywhere. You know, but that's it.
No, thank you, Jeff. Yeah, we'll get into it. Like, yeah, Pennywise takes his sweet time to get out, but he doesn't think about like going faster to like get away from these humans because they're trying to stop him. It's kind of crazy. Cyber, your thoughts on this mixed section of the episode where the kids are like catch up to it and like it is like taunting them. What are your thoughts on the twist that Marge is the mother of Richie from the movies? And then the end point is pretty much seeing Dick stopping Pennywise in the shine. Go ahead. That's my end point there.
All right. So, I mean, this section, I mean, it gets absolutely very interesting. I mean, all the stuff that goes on, the whole situation with Pennywise and his carriage, you know, him popping his head out and talking and shit is crazy. You know, after the girls get up there to meet him, we have the whole situation happening in that area there where, as Jeff had mentioned, how the seasons change in that area, which once again, I think that comes down to just Pennywise being able to manipulate nature, being able to manipulate his environment. That's a part of his alien powers. So, I mean, you know, he basically, he as he calls himself a god at some point in this film or this show, you know, he literally is, because he's able to manipulate whatever he needs to be able to get what he needs to feed on. And, you know, the whole situation where there's the floating kids, you know, until they get there and stop him, I thought was really interesting. You know, them being all deadlighted at the very beginning of the episode, but they're all floating. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the fuck is going on? How is he able to do that? I mean, that's just it. That's like very interesting. Like, how is that even working? Like, how are they like floating like that? I mean, once again, showing the extent of Pennywise's abilities, you know, once again. And because if I remember correctly, you know, in the movies, they had it where he was a spider in form, you know, and he had them up in webs and shit. Whereas in the 2017, 2019 versions, I don't remember exactly how he had them when he brought them to his lair. I can't remember.
It was like, it was up in the sky. He like kept them up in the air and floating.
It was floating, and shit, right? Okay. So it was kind of similar to what was going on there in Welcome to Derry. So I think that was kind of an interesting take, and like having them being transported like that, floating and shit like that. So I thought that was kind of cool. But as we move on there, and we end up having like the confrontation between you know, Pennywise and Richie's mom, which that blew me away when they said that was Richie's mom. I was like, well, I knew all these people were connected to the people from 80s. I knew they were going to be connected to the people that are going to be in the next section. They're all going to be connected somehow. But I did not know that she was going to be Richie's mom. And hell, I'm like, if that's going to be Richie's mom, I'm like, holy shit, I would want that to be Richie's mom. You know, I think that was so cool, tying it in to the movies. I thought that was so cool, finding out that was actually Richie's mom. And I love that they had a picture of Finn Wolfhard and everything and stuff like that. I love that. I thought that was so cool. And him saying, you know, basically that whole situation is like, yeah, I got to kill you, because if I don't kill you, you're going to give birth to what's going to kill me. And I'm just like cracking up going, holy shit, this is insane. Like almost 30 years prior to when Richie goes on and kills Penny, you know, first confronts Pennywise, his freaking mother is dealing with him. I'm like, holy shit. And why the mother never said anything to him, I have no idea. Did she forget? Was there like some sort of trance that happened or something? So I thought that was really interesting and a really cool way of connecting the movies to this great series. And, you know, that was so cool. I love that she survived. I love that she didn't get eaten. And when he gets frozen there, That was freaking cool because he's like literally in mouth mode, or like as I call it, hedgehog mode, when he pulls out all his fucking teeth. I'm like, what the fuck? He looks like a fucking gopher, almost like a hedgehog. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? Was he like a centipede? I'm like, I'm just like, I don't get that. Like, I mean, I know he's in a spider form in the movie, but still, like, I'm like, that doesn't make me think spider. That makes me think something completely else. So, I thought that's kind of interesting that he looks like, how they made that look, but how he gets paused like that when they bring the orb, what do you call it? I'm like, interesting. And then we end up finding out, all of a sudden he's stuck in his own head, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, this is fucking sweet. Like, who's able and powerful enough to be able to get Pennywise, who considers himself a god, stuck in his own head? Because in that scene, he's like, I'm not Bob. Where the hell am I? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm a fucking god, and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then you end up finding out that somehow Bill used the shine to get Pennywise stuck in his own head to pause him from killing Marge. I'm like, that's so freaking cool. So I absolutely love this sequence leading up to. I'm sorry, what was your endpoint again, sir?
Right there when Dick enters Pennywise's mind and then like letting the kids out of the trance. Right there.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, leading up to that point, and the kids coming out of the trance, they all fall down and they wake up. I think that was crazy, like that they were able to do that. They were able to stop Pennywise to an extent there, before they get into a climactic final battle. And I think that whole situation where he's stuck in his own head was so freaking cool. And I love seeing Pennywise like have to think like, holy shit, how's this happening to me when I'm supposed to be this ultimate power, this ultimate god? And I thought that was so freaking cool and such a great writing. So yeah, great section. Love this section. Lots of great things happen. We get to know who Richie's mom is. We learned about this stuff. It interconnects. It is just so freaking fun. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, when Pennywise is in the shine, that was where he say, "I'm a god. I'm the eater of worlds. You fool." Because was it? I think Dick, who's disguised as the like guy from the flashback movie scene that like announced the carnival and the freaks and all that we seen in the season. He calls Pennywise pure rabbit, and like he gets insulted by what he say to him. And so
Andres, I think the shine power is a whole new concept for Pennywise in this show. That's why he's never seen it before until Dick.
Yeah, not until Dick, and then this is like the first time that like someone is actually using against him. That's like something he never experienced. Like someone that's like even like I mean, I don't want to say Dick is powerful as him, but like level to him in terms of powers. But anyway, so like after the kids and Will gets out the trench, we get the adults arrive with Leroy and Daniel. Let me say Daniel because I cannot say this like the Native American name, but like Daniel are trying to take the dagger to the other side of the river to the ancient tree to like mark the pillar there to like rebuild the cage, right? And then, but however, they are attacked by General Saw and his troops. Damn it. Assaulting Daniel, getting killed, which was really, really sad. Like, he got shot to the neck, and that was a really awful death. I was very surprised that he got killed. So Leroy convinces Will, his son, to take the dagger and bury it below the tree, but the dagger is drawn towards its layer, strongly resists. Of the tree that he's gonna that's gonna be put that the pillar is gonna go. So whatever. So after that, Pennywise realized that Halloran has trapped him in the false memory and escapes. Mainly because the soldiers interrupted Dick during that time, and Pennywise unfreezes and Shoal tries to control it by claiming it is free. But as Jeff, you said before, he realized who he is, and so Pennywise recognized Shaw from his childhood, and he does the very funny thing. you saw for like I think people do this is like they do this and then do that and then he turns like he did this and then bam turns into that creepy creature that we saw from episode 3. And yeah, after fighting Shaw with the form of the one eye carnival man, that was really creepy. It ultimately kills him, which I was like, wow, okay. So then after that, this is so Leroy, Hank, and the other adults subdued and disarmed Colonel Flower and the Fuller. Sorry, Colonel Fuller and the soldier. So let me stop there. Let me get back to you, Saber. What you thought on the adults surviving, trying to get the dagger to the tree, but they got stopped by the soldiers, and General Shaw. This is where like Pennywise is out of the shine, and he kills General Shaw, and then pretty much the adults are like taking down the last remaining soldiers that's still left before Pennywise eats them. So go ahead, sir.
All right. All right. So, I mean, I'm sorry. I totally missed your ending point. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. The end point is pretty much the adults taking down the last remaining soldiers there. Go ahead.
Okay. So, I mean, this section is you kind of finally get like the whole thought process of like what's going on with the military and everything, and kind of like what's going on with Will's dad and stuff like that, and the other people trying to help assist with putting the barrier back so that Pennywise basically can't get free again, and that put him back in his cage basically for the next 27 years. And so we get kind of the backlash of all what's going on, them coming out, them shooting towards them and all that kind of stuff. And all the craziness kind of ensues there. I mean, unfortunately, the one Native American kid, he gets killed. And then, of course, Will gets hit too as well. He gets injured, but thankfully he doesn't get killed. But basically, while they're trying to get the pillar back, they're having the kids do it. And, basically they do what they got to do in order to get them to be able to start trying to get that pillar back into the spot that it was that kept the barrier up before the military removed it. And so I think it's interesting how they kind of go about this, and like we see like the general and how he kind of is like he's all in this act of wanting to use Pennywise, and he goes up to him when he's frozen and tells him, he's like, yes, I'm gonna get you free again, sir, and we're gonna work together and this kind of shit. And you're just kind of like, dude, are you insane? Like, why do you think that Pennywise is ever gonna work for you when he thinks he's a fucking god? Okay, he thinks he's a god. He doesn't have any master. He is the god. So he's not going to work with you. So like that whole situation, I was just kind of like, this dude is fucking stupid. Like, this is an entity creature, alien creature that has had no enemies for centuries. And this thing thinks it's basically immortal, that it can't be killed. And you think that it's going to have that mentality like, oh yeah, I'll work with you because you asked so nicely and politely. Hell no. That's insane. And so I think that they do a good job, showing just how kind of stupid this whole situation is and kind of what it leads to, and kind of it ends up unfortunately leading to deaths and kind of stupidity. And basically coming to your end point, I think that it's a great section that leads us into that final climactic ending that is just so interesting and fun, that really brings together the story and kind of rounds out kind of the military's aspect in this whole journey. And I think they did a good job.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Derry Shaw was very stupid this whole season. He thought that, like, I thought initially he wanted to use Pennywise for the Soviets. I was like, okay, that's fine. Against the Russians. Yeah, the Mother Russia. And then was it last week? He said like, no, everyone needs to be feared. I'm like, fuck no. Like, you cannot like scare everyone with Pennywise. You cannot control him. He's literally a god, as you were saying before. But the thing that was funny, he thought that he was not gonna be like scary and be afraid, and it's like nope. He knew your fear, and you were dead meat. Dead meat. All right, Jeff, your turn. What's your thoughts on seeing Pennywise getting released by? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, stuff like that just doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, seriously, like it's inconsistent with the rest of the season. Everything's been pretty logical throughout the show. Everything that's been happening has all been pretty sensible. And realistic. As realistic as you could get in a in an It TV show. For him to be that fucking naive, like to think he can just walk right up and talk to and I mean, even though he doesn't know anything really about it, even though he literally doesn't even know at all what it is or nothing. You know what I'm saying? All he knows is what he saw as a child in that forest. You know what I'm saying? That's all he knows about it, And then whatever information they've learned, during that, doing research, the military, whatever they've been able to find out. You know what I mean? But he knows very little about what he's dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he does know that it's an actual supernatural being, you know what I'm saying? That's not even like supposed to be real, I mean, and then it looks like that with the fucking huge teeth and all that shit and everything, I mean, the fact that he would actually approach that thing and think that he would just be able to, in English, to speak regularly with it or whatever, and it would like just bullshit with him, and do whatever he wants or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It just makes no sense to me. I did not get that at all. It just seemed like a wasteless death. Kind of. You know what I mean? Like a really dumb move. With a character that I did pretty much like throughout the show, so, I mean, he set himself up to get fucking bit, like head bit or whatever, like, I've noticed Pennywise likes to do, he likes to do those head bites, where he just bites right into people's heads. So, yeah, I mean, I loved seeing the adults fight back against the military. The whole deal with the military in this episode, I was disappointed with. Their arc being wrapped up the way that it was in this really flat, non-impactful way in episode 8. I did not like that. I wanted more from the military. I did. I wanted a little bit more. I really did. But we didn't get it. I mean, it was cool that the adults were able to fight back and get the guns and get freed up, and all that, and obviously, be able to assist the children, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, I kind of agree. The government storyline was probably the weakest. Like, I thought initially, this was a crazy fan theory because I love Stephen King. I don't know, you guys seen the movie The Mist? I thought, because in the trailers we saw the fog coming, I thought that was the Mist, and like some bizarre reason the government
the concept of having the military out there like looking and trying to find Pennywise and all that, you know what I'm saying, and all that was really interesting. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just would like to see it wrapped up, in a better way.
Yeah, I just wish they stuck with the actual like realistic motivation from what they were trying to do was to use Pennywise to go against,
as a weapon.
Yeah, as a weapon, and that made more sense. Because last week when they revealed the truth, I was like, oh, come on, not that.
Yeah, that was just a bunch of bullshit. A bunch of complicated nonsense. That whole plan to actually use them to affect everybody in the whole country or whatever, nobody even knows that Pennywise even has that ability. You know what I'm saying? To do that, So
yeah. I don't know, like far reach of an idea, and like as you were saying, for Jeff, like no research on this creature Like you don't know is like the powerful. But anyway,
and they also do know he hibernates, for 27 years at a time. You know what I'm saying? They do know that. So how they thought they were going to be able to use him and get around that, I don't really know.
They probably. I just think imagine they're trying to trick him for Groundhog Day. Like the Groundhog sees the shadow.
They had no idea that the pillars had any effect on his powers or anything like that, or his sleep schedule or anything like that. They didn't know that.
No. That was the thing about their research. They didn't do that.
Only the Indians actually know about those things in the show. The military doesn't know shit.
No, well, because they're the ones that created it, and they've been tracking down, the process with Pennywise with the cage. Okay, let's get into the climax of this, and I think the climax was good for different reasons, but we'll get into it. But so Pennywise races to beat the kids to the tree. But it is hindered by feeling getting shot by Leroy, Hank, and Rose, as the dagger's power is proving too strong for the kids to plunge it. So Pennywise prepares to attack the children directly, becoming a kaiju bird, which was kind of crazy. Suddenly, I don't know if you guys were kind of emotional or were very surprised by this, but I was so happy to see Richie again. Suddenly we see the spirit of Richie emerging and helping the kids to exceeding in planting the dagger under the tree. That moment was so good. I know it was cliche, again, some other movies, as Jeff said before, but I thought this moment was really great because I love Richie. I thought besides Halloran as the MVP, Richie was the MVP of the series. As a kid, he was the best kid of this new losers group that we got from the TV show, and that was such a really good moment. And so Pennywise reversed to the Deadlights. That's his true form, and you saw him shading to the previous forms that we saw him in the first season. So we saw the baby creature, we saw Ronnie's mom, monster form, and we saw what else? The one-eye carnival guy. Whatever, and he returns to hibernation. So he goes back to the house that we know from the movies. So let me stop there. Let me get back to you, Jeff. What you thought about this big climax here?
I mean, I don't know if it's really a big climax, sir. Again, I already told you how I felt about about the events of the episode.
Yeah,
I did not feel, I'm sorry, but I did not feel like that was a big ending for an episode of a TV show. It was very predictable what happened. You know what I mean? The kids were going to win. They were going to be the ones that had to, have the last final battle. And, you knew what was going to happen. You knew that the kids were not going to lose, that they were going to win because they're the kids, So it's all very predictable, and it was great that they brought Richie back, this whole element of adding in the Dixie and the dead people and stuff like that, because of the shine powers and why not resurrect a dead person, in this shining Dr. Sleep world that we're living in with this show, in this show, anything is possible. It makes perfect sense that a person could die and come back to life and help their friends or whatever, I did not find that to be far-fetched at all, is my point. I felt like it fit in. It fit in with the show. So that was good. And nice closure for his friends, right? Obviously we saw Pennywise dip at the end and take off in the water, but for a minute there it looked like he was actually being destroyed, which we know that can't be happening because we know he comes back, but for a minute there it looked like he was actually being destroyed. But he obviously got pretty fucked up, and obviously, when the pillars are in place, he's not meant to be not hibernating, So we it was a solid ending. Everybody worked together, everybody played a part, in the victory at the end. You know what I mean? Everybody had their opportunity to kind of do something, and I mean, within the constraints of an 8-episode season of a television show, that's all you've got to work with. They did a good enough job wrapping up the character arcs at the end. Kind of flushing everything out to wrap things up. They went with like a very, with a very simplistic, sort of story, or like, what's going to happen to like, to the people, but Dick says he's going to go to the hotel, which we obviously know is the Shining Hotel, so that's cool.
No. That's just a nod to the overall hotel. The hotel is in America.
That's right. He said he was going to Europe. I forgot.
Yeah, London. But it's just like a cute like Easter egg, like because the hotel is like, oh, that's leading to Overlook, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because he says how dangerous or whatever could a hotel be or whatever,
Yeah, which that was funny. I was like, oh, of course you got to do that.
Yeah, again, it was a very, very, very typical type of ending, just a very stereotypical happy ending to a television show, I don't know, in season 2, I hope that Pennywise wins at the end, just to change things up, It's nice to see the villain win once in a while, you know what I mean? So I guess I just say that I did really enjoy the element of adding Richie's ghost in there to help the team win, and get over the final, hurdle to put Pennywise away. I'm glad the good guys won. And I guess Will's parents or whatever, the military guy and his wife are going to stick around, and watch over, the it stuff, like the pillars and all that kind of stuff, I guess. Is that what happened?
Yeah, because Will's son is in the movies. So they're another like part that's part of the movies. This people, Leroy and the family.
Oh, yeah, because Will, the child character, actually grows up and ends up being a character in the It films, doesn't he?
No, his son, called Mike Helen.
His son is the one that's Mike. Okay.
Yeah. Because Will died. I think in he actually died. He passed away during the first film. Where his grandpa, Leroy, we see Leroy in chapter 1, and like he's taking care of Mike in the movie.
Okay, I see. So he's passed away already by then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I liked it. They could have done a couple things differently, but I do appreciate that it was a nice long episode. It definitely covered its bases, the pace was good. Like it has been all throughout the whole show. All the Pennywise stuff was great as usual. And, it was a very basic episode of It Welcome to Derry. It was just a very basic, simple episode, a very simple, safe finale, nothing too exciting.
No, I agree. I was kind of surprised. Yeah, like when you brought up like you want to see Pennywise winning, I was kind of surprised he didn't win in this season, and so yeah, it's kind of weird not to see Pennywise win. But I think we're going to see like a really dark ending in the next season if they go to the 1935. Yeah, like because that factory massacre, whatever, is a really like big death toll. What Pennywise did, so that could be like the season where like the good guys are.
Is there a factory massacre or is there some kind of factory accident?
Well, I mean, you can call it both because technically Pennywise caused the fire of this thing that they always bring up. I need to double check that, but yeah, Pennywise caused that and like make it like an accident. Remember, Pennywise tricks people to think
that's my only point. I'm sure in the newspapers they probably said it was a fire. You know what I'm saying? And it was an accident. You know?
Yeah. Well, last week, the black spot, people thought that was like electricity like accident, and the fact was it wasn't like that because Pennywise just made that like he covered that up. Cyber, your thoughts on the finale, the whole thing? Talk about what you thoughts about the characters. What we left with the characters.
Wait a minute, how did Pennywise cover up the black spot stuff or whatever? Like that obviously was a fire that was set by the white racists, and nobody doubted that or was confused by that.
No, they didn't address that. They just say that it caused by a fire, but they didn't mention the people that caused it. And remember, Derry just covered that up. Remember, people.
Yeah, because it was all on the DL, secret agent. That's why they. Yeah, but Pennywise had nothing to do with covering anything up.
I mean, that's the thing. I don't know. Sometimes he does this, sometimes he doesn't. But anyway, Cyber, your thoughts on the whole final thing? Oh, any thoughts on the Ingrid post-credit scene, sir? Before I go to Cyber, I'm sorry.
No, I did not even realize it was there.
All right, well. It's just another connection to the
movie. You mean the way that they ended the episode? It wasn't a post-credit scene.
Yeah, but I don't know what you call it, but yeah.
That flashback type scene or whatever you want to call it?
Yeah.
That was a flashback, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a flashback. It sets before chapter 1.
It may not have been an actual flashback, but it was depicting the past.
Yeah. Yeah, it was showing us this like important thing that confirms something in chapter 2,
Okay, so it was in the future, actually.
Yeah, it was in the future, like because it's in 1988, so it's like a year before chapter 1 starts the movie, because the movie is in 1989.
And the reason that they decided to add that and make that a part of this episode is because the crazy chick that thought she was Pennywise's daughter was there.
Yeah, it was there, and it makes sense now because that's why Pennywise chooses that form to scare Beverly later on when she becomes an adult. That's why it's there to like connect the dots.
So basically, she ended up being a patient in the insane asylum. That daughter character did.
Yeah, which was very interesting. Because I forgot that her mom died in chapter 1. Because it's different from the books because Beverly's mom dies from cancer. In the movies, they changed that to, the suicide.
Well, she was acting pretty fucking bizarre there at the end with her behavior and actions and everything in the show. So I'm not surprised she ended up locked up.
Yeah, for 26 years, from 1962 to 1988, which is crazy.
I don't know why they did that to her, but
yeah, it's crazy. All right, Saber, your thoughts on the whole final act of the episode? Go ahead.
So the final act of the episode is fun. Is it the greatest I've seen? No, I have to agree with Jeff there. But overall, I think it gets the plot points across. I think it does a decent job. We basically get kind of like the thought process of where everyone's going after the conclusion of stopping Pennywise. They get the barrier back in to imprison him again. And the kids, get the help from Spirit Richie so that they can, be able to, put the pillar back in and stop Pennywise. And so we see him kind of fade away and leave off and kind of disappear and retreat back to his cave, where he, resides for, when he hibernates. And I think it's interesting that if you think about it now, Richie in 62 was Marge's love interest. she ends up naming her son Richie afterwards. So there's a tie-in again, once again, with this, going forward. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But basically, then we see kind of everyone else kind of go off in their ways. We see I don't remember any of these kids' names. I'm sorry. The little black girl and her dad go off.
Don't feel bad.
Ronnie.
I can't fucking remember their names either, dude.
Yeah, Ronnie and Hank. That's their name.
Ronnie and Hank go off. We have the Native American woman, whose son died. She ends up asking Will's dad and mother to, basically help keep Pennywise at bay. And at first they're reluctant, but then end up deciding to do it. So, Mike, who we all know from the films, the reason why he's still in Derry is because his family is still in Derry. His grandfather, his mother, all of them, his dad, and everything like that. And then we have, kind of that ominous little thing with the guy from The Shining. Him going to the funeral of Richie too as well, and letting Richie's parents know that he will always be with them. We have that kind of nice little sentimental thing there going on. And basically then we see what's her face that was dead lighted by Pennywise. She gets stuck in the asylum.
Ingrid,
and we get to see her kind of age into the Ingrid we know from the film, from chapter 2. And basically we get kind of that send off. It's now the 80s. Now we're at the time when Pennywise finally gets destroyed, or the beginning of his destruction. And, we get to see Sophia Lillis, who plays Beverly Marsh in the film. And, we see kind of the starting of the next chapter, the next 27 years, 26 years, as they put it, a year before Pennywise wakes back up. And, it's one of those great things that I think that it's a nice segue into the movies. It's a nice segue into what's going to happen, 30 years prior, what's going to happen the next 30 years prior, stuff like that. So I think they did a good job all in all. I thought it was decent ending. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining from beginning to end. That it was a decent amount of time on the episode. And overall, I think a really great finale.
Yeah, I totally agreed. Yeah, it was a good finale. Not the best, but I will say that this was a better finale from the other shows that we review. I thought this was way better over from Peacemaker Season 2, Alien Earth Season 1. So I was happy that at least Stick Delaney at being entertaining, and it gave us a lot of fun and laughs. So it was great. Just want to give some few notes. The older actress that plays Ingrid in chapter 2, this is her final role. She actually passed away in June of 2025. I just wanted to bring that up because after that scene is done, the 1988 flashback of the hospital, they do if you see movies, to honor the passing of the actor, they usually say their name and then where the date of birth and then the day of their passing. So unfortunately, this older actress that plays Ingrid is no longer with us. So she is memorable. I mean, she does a really good job of being a creepy old lady in chapter 2, and even this last scene of the finale. So very sad that she's no longer with us. But yeah, love the show. Very sad it's ending. This is definitely one of the best 2025 shows of this year after Endor. So anyway, let's get into ratings. So sticking with you, Cyber, what's your rating for it? Welcome to Derry, episode 8, and the show in general.
I give the finale a 10. I think it was a solid finale. I enjoyed it. I thought it got the point across. I thought it was entertaining, so I got to give it 10. Overall, the series for me, I think, is a 9. Like I said, there was a few episodes that I thought were okay. Ones that I thought were, nah. There was a couple that were just like, nah, I don't care for that. Other than that, I thought it was solid all the way through. I thought it was a really great show, really fun. Looking forward to the next, season when it comes out. So yeah, I have to give it overall a 9, a 10 for the finale.
Awesome. Jeff, your rating for the episode and the show in general.
I'll give 7 for the finale. I was let down overall, honestly, for the finale, but for the overall show for the season, I'll give it an 8.5. I was going to go with an 8, but I'll give it an 8.5 because it really was very consistent, and it's such a different show, with such a different genre than what we're usually used to seeing with television, so I admire the bravery, to decide to go out and take a chance at making a show like this, and making it work, it was obviously well acted, well produced, really didn't notice anything negative about it. It wasn't the most expensive looking television show I've ever seen on HBO. But the money was there. The budget was there. They pulled off a pretty realistic, accurate depiction of 1962 or 1965 or whatever the fuck it was. As far as how the town looked, they didn't really move around a lot throughout the course of this season of the show. They really honestly didn't they everything happens in Derry,
that's how it is.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so it's they're not all over the map when it comes to their scenes. Everything is pretty much centered in the same locations. I think that that's pretty much it. I'll have other thoughts about it a month or two from now when I get a chance to digest it better. But for right now, overall, I thought it was very entertaining and definitely makes me very excited about seeing season 2.
Yeah. Get used to staying in Derry because that's going to be our main city for the whole 3 seasons. We're going to get the show, hopefully. So I would rate this episode 8.5 out of 10. I agree with you, Jeff, that it's, it did let me down a little bit, particularly with the military storyline. But overall, it was a satisfying finale that wrapped up all the storylines for this season, which is good. Out
of all the different arcs, the military arc was really kind of like just not wrapped up well,
and and that's a finale. It felt like a movie, like happy ending, so I get it. And it's tough to be a prequel show because just like Endor, where the story is going to go, especially it, so
it's all tough. It's tough to be doing a format of television that's very, very rare and new, where you're doing seasons that are totally different of one TV show, with new casts for every season and new time periods and stuff like that. That's a very novel, unique, new kind of concept for television. Not many television shows are out there trying to do that, Yeah,
going backwards, which is something I never seen before.
So again, even that is tough and hit or miss. Look at True Detective, one season of epic television, that was, award nominating, award winning and, considered one of the best, seasons of television ever, to season 2, which from what I heard, I never watched it, was a total drop off compared to season 1 and totally sucked.
It was okay, but it wasn't as great as season 1. But anyway, I will compare it more to Fargo because that one jumps in and out in time.
Fargo is the only other television show that does that.
Deal, like like just going back to present time and
whole new casts for each season, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny. They also do connection to characters that you've seen previously. Like this show did season 1. Overall, my rating for the show is a 9 out of 10. I thought this was really good. As a fan of the movies, It Chapter 1 and 2, this did a really good job of expanding the book / movies that I like, and I thought this was so much better than Chapter 2. I don't like Chapter 2. It's a really weak sequel, but I love Chapter 1. Chapter 1 is one of the greatest 2017 horror movies of all time.
I'm sure you agree, Andres. The stuff that they decided to add to this show, the Shining and the Dr. Sleep stuff that they decided to put into the show was great. That was a really, really great decision that they made.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing it up. And the only reason I put this high as 9 and 10 is because of the Shining connection. I was so happy to hear that, they were doing that.
Only in a television series would you have been able to make that happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on It Welcome to Derry. Thank you everyone for joining us for the live recap / review of episode 8. Very sad it's gonna end, but no worries. We're gonna come back whenever they announce season 2 of It Welcome to Derry. So let me hit it to Jeff to plug us out for tonight and tell you guys what we have planned for this week. Go ahead, Jeff.
I guess so, sir. Technically, you could actually continue moderating, and I can just pull up the stuff. You know what I mean?
It's true. Well, let me say about Friday. Friday's easy. So Friday, we're back again to review another great TV series. I'm so happy it's coming back. The Fallout season 2 is it's already premiered this day, Wednesday. So I know, was it every episode is released, or is they're doing the week by week? I don't know.
I don't know, Cyber. If I remember correctly from season 1, doesn't Prime Video do every week episodes?
Let me check.
Yes.
Yes.
and occasionally they'll drop 2 at a time too.
Yeah, no, they're dropping only 1 at a time here for this season.
This season, okay, because I heard that they were doing that. Okay,
that's good. That's good because I didn't like it when they did it in season 1.
Yeah, so that's awesome because we can have this season have 9 episodes, so that's good. Anyway, so that's our next show to review, and then Wednesday we're back again to do DC animation reviews. So that's going to be exciting.
Oh, thank you so much for doing that, Andres. Yes.
saying.
Andres is a big Fallout fan. You're probably the most excited about covering Fallout Season 2 out of the 3 of us because I think Cyber and I both liked Fallout but did not find it quite as impressive as you did.
Yeah, it's just the retro thing. I like retro, 60s, period stuff. Yeah.
Retro?
And also,
what do you mean retro? It's you mean the retro angle that Fallout has? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that.
The old fashioned way that a lot of the shit looks.
Yes, yeah, just like Legion,
In the Fallout universe, that's just how it is. For whatever reason, they have really old fashioned technology and devices and.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So. But yeah, I'm not a big video game person, and I haven't really played the Fallout game, so I just really like the show.
I told you before in the past, it's very accurate to the game. They did a really good job.
Yes, it did.
It looks very much like the game.
Oh yeah, no, I seen some of the videos when they compare it to the show and the games. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the guy that created and show runs and is the head guy on the show. What's his name's brother? Jonathan
Nolan.
Jonathan Nolan he really anybody for the video game fans, they should give him a lot of credit because he really made a lot of effort to try to pull off something that literally looks as much as possible like you're in the video game.
Sure.
All right. So, hello, folks. I am Cyberneticshark. If you enjoy me here on the panel or as a moderator of the MCU'S Edge, you can check out my solo content. You'll find me on YouTube. That is my main page. Just look for Cyberneticshark. As you can see, my 2 most recent videos are the movie review for Predator Badlands, and then, of course, a trailer reaction of the upcoming Liam Neeson, Joe Carey film called Cold Storage. If you have not seen either of those, check those out. Most recent, of course, little shorts. I just put up one for a holiday film called A Cluster Funk Christmas. And also my most recent Sora would be is Meeting FDR. If you have not seen those, definitely check those out too as well. And very fun. Be having more stuff up for you guys soon. Just crazy time right now. Lots of craziness going on. And I'll be having more stuff up for you guys soon. So keep your eyes out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for following. Keep on watching. Keep on trucking. Keep on subscribing. And if you really want to help the guy out, check out the great Patreon page. Once again, also under Cyberneticshark. Just look for it. Become a subscriber there too as well and help a guy out.
Okay. Sorry, Cyber. Andres and I are coming off of a Sunday night live stream on his channel that was 3 hours long, and so we're just falling back into our dialogue. Our dialogue.
Dialogue. I think it's habits. Old habits.
Our banter that him and I like to have from time to time.
Yeah, good old times.
There you go, Andres.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Andreas, Pop Culture Guy. Thank you for everyone for joining. Us, the MCU Edge for the It. Welcome to Derry. This was my pick, actually. This was my pick. I told Jeff we should do this show to fill up the schedule. So I'm so happy we did this show for 8 weeks. So thank you everyone for joining us. These amazing 8 weeks. This was a blast. And for me, moderate this a couple of the episodes that I was assigned to from the first episode to the finale, it was an honor. So thank you, Jeff and Cyber, for going for the show because it was a blast. So content I have right now, so you can check out my 2 tributes of very awesome movies. Of course, Commando is 40th anniversary, so check that out. And recently today I just posted my Unbreakable one, so enjoy that. Tomorrow I'm gonna post my top 10 favorite Joker designs. That means every my personal favorite of the Joker designs from the movies, games, TV. You can see that tomorrow. Almost done with that. Shorts. I recently reviewed the first season of Fallout, so you can hear my short thoughts on the first season of Fallout because today was the release of the first episode of season 2. Tonight will be another movie clip. And then I guess next review will be a movie. I think it will be Die Hard, doing that kind of Christmas theme, but one at a time. So Die Hard will be the next movie review. So that's where I'm at right now. No live stream for this Sunday, but the 28th will be me and Jeff again to do another live stream for 2025, a top 10 villain list of MCU villains, our favorites. So we're going to do that on the 28th of December of Sunday. So that's all I have right now. So thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Okay. And like the man already said, we're all back with our buddy Jermaine from if I remember oh God, I cannot remember his YouTube channel name.
Cool.
I cannot remember. I feel bad. I'm sorry, Jermaine. He would be pissed off at me right now. But it used to be called Trekker's Delight, but then he changed it to something else, and I cannot remember now. It's been so long since I checked it out. But Jermaine's going to be back with us as a guest, potentially maybe somebody else. But we'll be back doing Fallout again on Friday night. Should be fun. Episode 1. Looking forward to it. And yes, we are going to be doing, although I cannot remember, I have to look it up on my Facebook Messenger, see what Andres told me is the next DC animated film on our list, but as soon as I know what it is, I will inform these gentlemen, and yes, we will review it next Wednesday night, and that should be a blast, because we love doing DC animated films.
Yes. Me. Especially me, as a DC guy.
I had no idea there were so many still left on our list. I thought there was only a couple left. There's actually a bunch.
No. That's the great thing about DC. We have more DC animation films than Marvel, so that's good news.
I guess so. I had no idea that there were so many of them. I thought there was that we were almost done.
Oh.
Anyways, well, like the man said, folks, For Cyberneticshark and for Andres the Pop Culture Guy, and for myself, Jeff S., aka True Knowledge, we are done. This is it for it. Welcome to Derry. We are closing the chapter. We'll see you next time. Rate and follow the podcast. And God bless.